Back at it again here at Trackside Northeast. I'm your host, Joe Cortese. We got a lot to talk about, folks. The playoffs have arrived. We got 16 drivers, 10 races, one champion, but we have to start over in Daytona. What a finish. I mean, that was one of the best races I've seen all year because a lot of the guys at the end, they're all fighting for that spot, but Ryan Blaney, he comes out on top. It was actually interesting to see 2 laps down. Blaney was in 13th, and he was able to find his way all the way back to the beginning of the pack. So let's get a little video from this weekend. I mean, it was loud and it was fast. So we've got 16 drivers set up, but we got to talk about Blaney. I mean, what a race. Tough day for Joey Logano. He ended up falling off a little bit, but you know, one of those races that you saw a lot of crashes and a lot of guys going for it, but that's what we want to see as racing fans. We want to see these guys going bumper to bumper at high speeds and trying to get there. So Blaney, 13 plates, 2 laps to go. He was able to come out, found his way through the pack. He gets the W. He actually only won by 0.031 seconds, right in front of Daniel Suarez, following up the 4-wide dash finish. Now, Blaney, he's out in victory lane. Good for him, but I got to tell you, man, I was reading up on this. In his past 6 outings at a track that is at least 1 mile in length, he has placed 37th or worse. So, good thing is he's back in it. He's back on top. He already got a win, but let's check out the playoff standings. So we're down to the round of 16 over here. You're going to have Larson, Byron, Hamlin, Blaney, Bell, Van Gisbergen, Elliott, Briscoe, Wallace, Cindric, Chastain. He's getting hot. Watch out for him. He's also my favorite driver, so we have to, give a shout out to him. But Joey Logano, Barry, Reddick, Dillon, Bowman. It's going to be a good one, though. You got Darlington coming up, and that's where it's all going to begin for the playoff series. But a couple key things to watch out for. So Joe Gibbs Racing, they haven't won since 2019. They got Hamlin, Bell, Briscoe in it. So, there's a shot there, but we'll have to watch out for the continued success of Hendrick Motorsports. I mean, Larson, Elliott, Byron, the team to beat all year long. And one of the interesting stories we'll have to look at is Van Gisbergen, SBG, is he going to be able to take what he did on all the domination of the road track throughout the season and bring that into the playoff format? Because it goes very quickly. I mean, you got to make sure that you're up there. One bad race, and not even one bad race, one bad lap, one bad move can completely ruin it for you, and we'll have to really see what happens in the next couple weeks, but it's all set up, it's ready to go, and then we switch over to, now we'll have to go over the playoff format a little bit. So it starts with the round of 16. You got Darlington, Gateway, and Bristol. 4 drivers will be eliminated at the end of that. Then we're going to go over to the round of 12. You got New Hampshire, which WPRI 12, we will be up there covering these races, which is a lot of excitement here. I, unfortunately, scheduling-wise, I don't think I'm going to be able to get up there, but we got a great team here in our sports department as well as reporters, so they have all that figured out. We'll have coverage of that. And then round of 12, we got New Hampshire, Kansas, Charlotte, and then it goes down to the round of 8, where this is where it gets really interesting. You got Vegas, Adega, Martinsville, and then the championship 4. So before we get too much into the playoffs, let's hear about what Ryan Blaney had to say after the win over the weekend. I mean, he said it just because he was in the driver's seat. He wanted to see the photo finish and how it ended from a different perspective, because you're 4 wide coming into the end of the race. You have no idea what's going on. You're just trying to get that W. So let's take a look at what Ryan Blaney had to say.
Cool night, anytime you can win here. I won here in 21, it was a fun night. Just never know what's going to happen at these places. And yeah, we led laps and got good stage points, and then kind of had a little bit different strategy than everybody else, kind of pitted an extra time and made sure we had more fuel than others where I could kind of go harder earlier. And then, yeah, just the last few laps, like the top kind of got rolling, and I was able to push the 41 really hard, and then was able to get in a spot to lead at the end. So wild night, wild last few laps. I'm actually looking forward to going back and watching it, seeing it from the bird's eye view. But yeah, definitely exciting.
I mean, part of super speedway racing is being in the right place at the right time and not being in the wrong place at the wrong time. How did your strategy work into that?
Yeah, we just went racing, and we were able to get up front early, and then we lost some track position, and then we just kind of went into fuel save mode. But then, with 30, 40 to go, you race like you're trying to get up back from the pack, and it's hard to go anywhere when it's 3 wide. We had that late caution, and the top lane was open and available, and me and Cole were able to go up there, and a couple other guys, and make some just great time up there. And so yeah, it's just a matter of sometimes that I've been here before where I've ended up on the wrecker and got right where you're hooked and terrible things, but then you have days like this, to where it seems like it kind of all went your way. So you're going to have those days when you come to this place.
It's kind of cool watching a lot of drivers come in here, shake your hand, say, hey, good job. I mean, Joe Logano, tough night for him because he was leading a lot of the race. But what does that mean to you when other drivers come and say, good job?
That's neat. I mean, you're all competitors, but also, as far as Joey, right, he and I are good teammates, and you support each other. You go to victory lane, and congrats to the people you work really close with. And then, a couple other guys coming in who I raced with all night. Justin Haley came in and just beat him at the line, right? And he had a win to get in the playoffs, and it just shows what a good guy he is. Comes in, and there's respect, obviously, there. So it's just fun racing with everybody, and it's neat when you have competitors like that.
Now, it's interesting that he talked about Cole Custer. I'm a big fan of Custer. He had so many second-place finishes last year in the Xfinity Series that, man, you just want to see him get a win. And he had it in that final lap. He was going up high in the round, and then he almost got out too far in front. The announcers were talking about it. You get out too far in front, you start losing that draft, and those cars catch up to you quick. So congratulations to Blaney. He got a big win over the weekend in Daytona. We are now going to head over to Darlington Raceway for the first round. Now, the interesting thing is, throughout the show, I want to think about this. I mean, we have a lot of conversations about the playoff system and how it works. Now, we have to go through a couple different races to get all the way down to the round of 4, but then it ends in Phoenix, and you almost wonder if they would make some changes maybe at the end of the year where it's not just down to the final race over at Phoenix. I mean, maybe they can expand it, but it was one of those moments when we watched Daytona over the weekend that you start realizing, man, it really is that one win and get in, and you would do anything and everything to get yourself that win to get into the playoffs. But a lot of good drivers in the playoffs this year. We're going to see a lot of great racing. It'll be interesting to see what kind of strategies they have, who wants to kind of sit back, get a feel for it, and then make an attack at the end, or if they want to go right for it at the beginning. So a lot to discuss, a lot to go over. We also have to hit the Xfinity Series. We'll come back in the next 2 minutes and talk a little bit about that. Connor Zilic, he has the time away. Well, his car, pretty good. And they end up getting the win over there at Junior Motorsports. So we'll be back in less than 2 minutes. We'll go over the Xfinity race. Then we'll talk about a guest coming up next week that we're going to be having in for Seekonk. And we'll go over everything else that we have heading into the playoffs. So we'll be right back.
Because these cars are not meant to do that. So a team did a great job preparing. We ran through it on Wednesday for a couple hours, and then we did it today. And it's just like there's still a lot of room for error, but everyone did it calmly. Everyone on the team did an amazing job doing the swap, and I was able, that red flag helped to get a couple things a little more comfortable, tight, or not tight, but like tighter, and just to figure some things out in the interior. But yeah, it took me probably a little bit to get comfortable, and then once I did, I felt like, hey, car, I can win this thing. And sure enough, it was.
I mean, yes.
Yeah.
And then you've got, weather delays and everything. I guess it helped you in one way, and then you got situated. And the other way, you've got a lot of things going on in your head, I'm sure. So what was that like?
I oddly was able to tap into, like, when I won here in February, I was just locked in the entire time. Never really thought about anything else. Never let anything seep in. And tonight was a similar thing. I just locked in. And, there was times where stuff would kind of seep in outside, and I just right back. Hey, mate, just stay focused. Stay on the task at hand. And somehow I figured that out in 35 years of life. Probably too late, but yeah, when you lock in, good things happen. So that plus our pit crew crushed it. Hendrick Motors were amazing. There's just so many things that aligned tonight that made that easy for me to be able to jump in and go win.
I suppose in the truest sense of the word, this was a team victory.
Oh yeah, 100%. I hate the circumstances of which I was in the car. Obviously, I'm glad he's okay, and I said to him, I was like, I'm just going to be a small footnote on your 20 Cup championships you go on to win, because he's an absolute generational talent. But super cool to get to know Connor even more than I did, and to spend some time with him this week. And I think he's going to obviously be a guy that's going to go on to do really, really big things in the sport. And it's cool that I've done this race with him.
Parker, you are a fan favorite. I mean, congratulations. That's unbelievable. They had to do the swap with Connor Zilic, but he was able to hold off Justin Allgaier and Sammy Smith to win after that caution came out in the final race. But, man, what a race in Daytona, both the Xfinity and the Cup Series. So, switching over to the playoffs for Xfinity, they actually have 2 races remaining. We'll pull up the schedule over here. So, they are going to have their 2 races remaining. The playoffs begin September 12th. They first have to do the Pacific Office Automation 140. That's going to be August 3rd. 30th. That is this Saturday. And then they have one more race at the Worldwide Technology Raceway. That's September 6th in Illinois. The playoffs begin the 12th. They'll be going to Bristol, then Kansas. But we have to talk a little bit about Connor Zilisch. Now, Parker, congratulations. You got the big win. That was a great race. Another good Xfinity race. We see all these young guns getting out there. But Connor Zilisch, I'm sure seeing that 88 car passing the finish line without, him driving, maybe a different feeling. But he got some great news this weekend. Trackhouse is going to have him in the 2026 Cup Series. Now, if you've listened to any of the shows before, I've mentioned I wish we could see him down the Xfinity another year, learn a little bit more. But when you're fast and you're that good and you're winning that much, you cannot not take a gamble on somebody and get him up there. And I don't think he's much of a gamble. He's going to be an unbelievable driver coming up for Trackhouse, but there's going to be a lot of eyes on him coming in. It's just 19 years old. I mean, this kid has all of the future in front of him, and he has so much talent. I mean, you see the way he drives. He reminds me a lot of just so many fast guys like Kyle Larson. You see Larson drive around, and just it doesn't matter what kind of automobile he's in. He's able to make that thing 4 wide as fast as the rest of the field. So real quick, I want to listen to what Connor Zilisch had to say, because he was obviously over there watching his number 88 car in the victory lane over there, but he had a couple interesting things to say after the race.
Just with that in our endurance racing, we both raced in the Rolex 24 this year, so honestly that's kind of normal for us here at Daytona to do that driver swap. But yeah, we practiced it back at the shop, practiced it today, and just did everything we could to be ready for if that were to happen. So yeah, it was really cool to watch him today. It was an awesome experience. I've never been so nervous watching my own car out there before.
Yeah, so what was that like mentally? Obviously, difficult circumstances to put you in this position, but what was it like watching the 88 go around?
With Parker driving, it was awesome. There's a lot of people I maybe would be a little bit more sour towards, being in my car and winning in my car, but he's a guy that I'm really happy for. So, yeah, I'm glad that he was able to get the win and help boost our 88 team even farther and continue the momentum we've been on.
So a very mature decision that you had to make to do this tonight, not to be in that car tonight, and to protect your future and protect the end of the season. What was that like?
Yeah, it's a tough decision. Always, never easy getting out of your race car in the middle of the race, but I feel like just with what I have going on in life right now, it's just part of the decisions you may have to make sometimes. So yeah, I'm hoping that I don't have to do that again, but I'm glad that I was able to at least start the race and run the race comfortable and I didn't have any pain. It's just the risk of wrecking here and not having an easy hit is kind of the reason.
So tell me about the rest of the season then. How is it going to shape up for you now? Are you going to be okay to drive? You're going to be okay to get back in the car and all that?
Yeah, I think next week I should be good to go. So yeah, it's been about 10 days I think from surgery, so hopefully by next week things will be healed.
I'm sure next week is definitely on his mind after seeing his car in victory lane without him in the driver's seat. But hey, he's got a lot of time and a lot of great things coming up in his future. So Connor's going to be just fine. He'll be able to come in. We're going to take a look at the point standing over here for the Xfinity Series. And obviously Zilisch falls behind just 3 points after the, not racing and everything and the way the point structure works and everything. But they have playoffs coming up. There's a lot going on. I'll actually come down a little bit. You'll get a look at the top 12 drivers coming in. These playoffs beginning over at September 12th. It should be a good kind of idea to see what everyone's got going on, how the race is going to pan out, what we're going to see in the Cup Series, what we're going to see in the Xfinity Series, and then what questions are really going to come up at the end of the year on how this playoff format is put together, whether or not they want to make changes or see how it all shapes up. But I'm excited. The playoffs are here to come. It's one of those times of year where we're excited about NFL coming back. Baseball playoffs are coming in. I love seeing the NASCAR playoffs because everyone, they take off the restrictors. And I don't mean the restrictor plates. They're ready to rock and roll. Everything comes down to these final races. And like I was saying earlier in the show, those one little mistakes or that one missed lap or one bad race really, it ruins it for you. But at the same time, you see the aggressiveness really amplify during these races. And that's some of the best times to watch it. So if you're a new race fan, new to this sport, go ahead and watch the playoffs. You'll really enjoy it. So we're going to have Xfinity Series on the CW. They'll be over in Portland, and I believe that's a 7 p.m. start. There's our graphic coming up. You can watch all the Xfinity Playoff Series on the CW. It's a great little partnership we have going on, and it's more content. This has been able to provide us with more interviews, more content, and so much going on with the CW and here at Channel 12. So coming back after the break, we're going to hit a little bit more on next week's guests coming in, and we're going to talk a little bit about the local scene and what's coming up at Seekonk. And then before we know it, 22 minutes will be up faster than ever. It always happens very quickly. So we'll be back in less than 2 minutes to go over more of the local side of racing. Here we are backside at Trackside Northeast. All right, let's check the local side of racing over here. Seekonk. Folks, I can't believe it's Labor Day weekend coming up already. I mean, can you believe we are already at Labor Day and the summer has flown by back like this? I mean, congrats to all the kids going back to school. Enjoy it. Soon the bills will come along. You'll become an adult and things get a little more stressful. But on top of that, it's a good week to get out there. So their thrill show's coming up. You got August 30th, and you also have the racing Fast Fridays return this Friday. You got more coming up this Saturday. And here's a look at the Seekonk race schedule coming up. I mean, folks, we only have a couple more of those. You know, look at September going through it. You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 into the end of the appreciation night that we just had over here for the night pit party. But you got your thrill show on the 30th, and then the Pumpkin Smash thrill show on October 11th. That looks like it's going to be a fun time. But before we finish up this show, and we got a couple more minutes to talk, but I wanted to bring up that Amy Helger, she's going to be joining the show next week. So we got a nice kind of like a not much of a request, but a nice email sent in from some folks over there. So Amy's got a pretty interesting story. She started racing around 18 years old, and she continues with her racing and her passion, but she wants to raise awareness for organ and tissue donations, and she had a special pit party over the weekend. We unfortunately couldn't make it to it, but I want to get Amy in here to talk about her remarkable story. It's a pretty interesting one when I got a chance to read through the email. I mean, she ended up donating a kidney to a complete stranger, and that stranger would later become her husband. So there's a lot of questions already circulating through my mind, and I would love to talk to Amy about this. And, there's so much going over at Seekonk. We had a couple that got married over on the finish line this year. There's a lot going on there with their social media platforms. So many different moving parts that are happening over in the local racing. And I believe coming up, let me check. I think it is October. Ooh, man, I want to say, is it the 6th, 7th? No, I'll have to double check this. Oh, no, it's going to be the 5th. They got the reunion over at Westboro Speedway. I am actually going to be heading over to see my grandmother for that. Although I'm not supposed to say that. That's supposed to be a surprise. But Grandy, I hope you're not watching. I will see you, though, over in October. There's a lot of fun. This could potentially be their last year. A lot of the guys come back, and it's a big reunion. So I'm really hoping to get over there and talk to some of these guys about their stories in local racing and, what brings them back and what brings them going. But unfortunately, I did hear that it could potentially be their last year with this reunion. But, a lot of the promotions happen through flyers and other things that come in. Mark Alden was able to come in, discuss it a little bit. But it's just a great atmosphere to get a chance to see all those old racers and some of the, fan favorites and legends that have been around the Northeast. So we'll have some more coverage from that. I'm actually really hoping to do some sit-down interviews and get a nice conversation going with some of these local racers. So there's my email, Joe Cortese at WPRI.com. If you have any questions, concerns, or anything about the show, you email me in. Any great ideas, anybody who's willing to come on the show, or any direction you'd like to see us go. I mean, wow. Sometimes I get talking, Jillian, and I feel like I rhyme way too much, but that happens that happens a little too often when a microphone gets in front and you can't stop talking. But real quick, I did want to tease some of the stuff going on at WPRI 12 for this OBS show that we have in here. Now, we're doing back to school, all back to school coverage throughout the week. There's a lot of different kids going back, a lot of different school districts starting up. And here at Team 12, we decided to go out of the way and, make sure that we get some extra interviews in here, a lot of different discussions. And we are bringing in, child psychologists talking about mental health, talking about AI in the classroom, and just going through every ins and outs of the, new school year coming up. Kristen Burnell for our morning show, she's done a great job with getting every single district, which, there is a lot of departments out there and a lot of kids. She's got some great stories. So for all the stories and all the back to school news, all you got to do is head to WPRI.com. If you want to view this show or view any of the prior shows with all of our guests we've had on throughout this season, all you have to go is to WPRI 12 Plus TV app. It's real easy. All you got to do is type in the search bar, you download it. We have every single episode, street stories. They're doing a lot of moving parts in this new style, style. It's kind of like a podcast style is what I've been saying, where you get a chance to bring people in, you get a chance to have those discussions. But we have a lot of great things going over here at Channel 12, a lot of moving parts, and we are making, as a lot of people are putting in a great effort to get these shows off the ground, get them on social media, and get people talking about them. The cool thing is everything's on demand on that app, so you can A, watch any of our newscasts going on throughout the day, and B, you can tune into all the different shows. I mean, Audrey McClelland, Ashley Erling, they have their Spotlight New England show that is awesome. It goes right into the local hearts on what's going on and what's going around Rhode Island. But be sure to go online. If you need any help with any of those kind of things, then we have all that written up online and where you can find everything. But back to school's happening. NASCAR playoffs are here. Baseball playoffs are gearing up. It's a good time of year, unless you don't like the cold, because, unfortunately, we have to deal with the cold, bitter winters up here in New England. So stay bundled out there. This is in fact, my favorite time of the year. I love waking up on a crisp end of summer morning where it's 50 degrees. You can have some hot coffee, but by the afternoon, it's 80 degrees and you can be on the beach. So props of living in southern New England over here. So I'm Joe Cortese for Trackside Northeast. We'll have more coming up next week with Amy Helger, and we'll also be having somebody in with her New England donor service. We're hoping to get both of them in here to have a conversation and discuss, their great story and the remarkable efforts they do to try to get people to donate organs and tissues, and their special pit party they just had over the weekend. So for now, I'm Joe Cortese. Be safe, be well. Most importantly, be kind. We all have our own personal battles that we're fighting behind a closed curtain, and none of us really know what's going on with each other unless, of course, we're talking about it, and that's the most important thing. So I'm Joe Cortese. Thanks for tuning in this week. We'll see you back here next week.